Coming up on today's edition of Golden State Warriors Today by Chat Sports, Bruno Caboclo is working out for Golden State in hopes of making an NBA return. Could Golden State sign him? Are they able to sign him? And how does he fit on this Golden State roster? And why is he even attempting to make an NBA comeback? We're going to dive into all of that on today's show. But before we do, Warriors got to make a move, right? This roster feels incomplete before the start of the 2024-25 season. If you want the Warriors to make a move, like today's video, go down below and hit that thumbs up icon. Make Mike Dunleavy hear us. So if we get 500 likes today, it might come across his YouTube feed, and he might have to get up off the couch and go make a move for this Warriors roster. What's going on, Dub Nation? You're watching Warriors Today by Chat Sports. I am Tyler Smith, and like I said, on today's show, we're going to dive into the 6'9" Brazilian phenom Bruno Caboclo attempting to make an NBA return with the Golden State Warriors, who will be hosting a workout with him this week. According to his agent, David Hazan, he said he will train with the Golden State Warriors until Thursday with the aim of signing a contract, and he believes he will succeed. Shout out Bruno Caboclo, keeping the dream alive, because this is a guy who a decade ago was drafted in the first round. First round pick. Number 14 overall by the Toronto Raptors. Are you kidding me? I believe he was actually number 20 overall pick, but whatever. He played for Sacramento and Memphis before last being in the NBA in 2021, but hasn't really gotten his career off the ground in the association. He played for KK Partizan Belgrade in Serbia last year, but he did leave the team in June for a private reason. That club hopes that he will return back this season, but there's a little bit of confusing rhetoric on whether or not Bruno Caboclo will return to Serbia for the 2024 season. And like I said, he just didn't get his career off the ground in the NBA. 4 points a game, two and a half boards, and the efficiencies are poor. Let's call a spade a spade. He was not good in the NBA. Never really was able to find a spot in the rotation for any of the stops that he had. In 105 games, these are the stats he's putting up. Just not great overall for Bruno Caboclo's time in the NBA. But if we think back to 2014, shout out Fran Fraschilla, who said he was 2 years away from being 2 years away. Now it's been 10 years. So I'd like to hope that Bruno Caboclo's game has been a little bit more refined, a little bit more polished up to this point. Now, like I said, there is an expectation from KK Partizan down in Serbia that he is expected to return for the 2024-25 season. They would want him back because he was a very productive member of that squad last season. But like I said, it's confusing because there are also reports that he's in negotiations with Hapoel Tel Aviv, according to his agent. So what's the situation here? Is Bruno Caboclo just throwing flyers out there, and whoever's the first one to give him a good contract, he's going to go jump ship? Maybe that's the case. Maybe he decides to go to Tel Aviv in Israel and play with Patrick Beverley, who just signed there this offseason. That could be a nice pick-and-roll duo, because that is what Bruno Caboclo has really blossomed to become in his time in the Euroleague. 9.5 points a game last year, 4 rebounds, half a steal, half a block a game, and really, really good efficiency. In only 20 minutes a night, he was obviously getting most of his work done around the rim. That's why it's evident by his 64% field goal percentage. But extending his range a little bit, low volume, only on 26 attempts, but made 13 of them, shooting 50% from three-point range in the Euros last year. And that doesn't stop there internationally for Bruno Caboclo. He was one of Brazil's best players. And you could argue he was the best player on their Olympic squad this year. Led the team in points per game with 17.3 and rebounds per game, 7. So it's funny because I don't really see Bruno Caboclo as like this elite rebounder, but he was cleaning stuff up on the offensive glass, getting easy putbacks and whatnot. When Brazil decided to go match up against the USA, when Bruno Caboclo and LeBron James, the biggest matchup of the summer that everybody was talking about, Bruno Caboclo stepped up to the plate. 30 points, 6 rebounds, great efficiency, 65% from the floor, 13 to 20, and extended his range a little bit. Hitting a third of his threes, I'll take that from a 6'9" rim runner who's throwing down emphatic slams. Really athletic player. If he can extend his range a little bit, he might have a spot again in the NBA. And like I said, I'm very interested to hear how Bruno Caboclo performs in this workout with the Golden State Warriors, because it seems to me like he's really refined his game. He's really polished some things up and looks to be back in the NBA in some capacity. We saw, Olympic standout Gershon Yabusele this offseason really showcase himself for France and make himself available for people to go out and say, oh, he's still around. Gershon Yabusele, he was drafted in the first round back in 2016. What says that Bruno Caboclo, who was drafted in the first round back in 2014, can't have that same type of career resurgence? I think there's a possibility that he can. So what do you guys think? Should the Warriors sign Bruno Caboclo? We're going to dive into, on the back half of today's show, why or how or if Golden State could even sign Bruno Caboclo, but I want to hear from Dub Nation first. Type Y for yes, type N for no down in the comments section if Golden State should sign Bruno Caboclo or not. Like I said, next up on the show, we're going to see, does Bruno Caboclo fit into this roster? Can Golden State even sign him? Is it legal? We're going to dive into all of that on the back half of today's show. But before we do, I got to get you guys hooked up with the #1 ticketing app in the world. Game Time. That's right, Game Time. Last-minute tickets for the lowest price guaranteed. Game Time is the fastest and easiest way to buy tickets for all the sports, music, comedy, and theater in your area. And guys, we all know that experiencing a sporting event, especially a basketball game like watching the Dubs live, is unlike anything you can get from watching the game on your couch. They have a new feature called Game Time Picks, which filters out all the fluff to show you only incredible deals on great seats so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets. As far as my experience with Game Time goes, I got tickets to a Travis Scott concert, got on the floor for Travis Scott last year. Also went to a Dallas Mavericks game down here in Dallas where the Chat Sports offices are located. You can get hooked up with Game Time today. What I love about using the Game Time app is that you get the lowest price guaranteed on any ticket to any event. All-in pricing is actually my favorite feature. So when you see 4 tickets for $200, you're paying $200. You're not going to get caught up by $100 in hidden fees when you get to checkout. So you don't get slapped with all the crazy fees and flash deals so you can get even cheaper tickets the closer you wait to game time. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time today. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code CHATSPORTS, that's CHATSPORTS, for $20 off your first purchase. Terms do apply. Again, create an account and redeem the code CHATSPORTS, that's CHATSPORTS, CHATSPORTS, for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it? Game time. So, can the Golden State Warriors even sign Bruno Caboclo? He's trying to make an NBA return, performed very well in Olympic play this offseason, and has had a resurgence since playing for the Euroleague. I mean, this guy won Bundesliga MVP a couple years ago. I think he could fit into this Golden State roster. Is it possible? Let's dive into it. So, as far as Golden State's roster cap situation right now, they have 12 guaranteed salaries for the 2024-25 season. Now, they cannot sign. Now, NBA rosters, we all know, can hold 15 guys. But Golden State cannot sign a 15th player because when they lose Klay Thompson, decided to get some stuff back for him, signing Kyle Anderson, signing Buddy Hield, that had to become a sign and trade. And that sign and trade where they took back more than 100% of what they sent out in Klay Thompson, that means that they are now hard capped at the first tax apron. So I think the Warriors have around like 500K in cap space, which makes it unable to sign a player to the active roster. Now, those 2 non-guaranteed deals. Golden State's got 2 non-guaranteed deals on the roster. Lindy Waters and Gui Santos. Gui Santos, actually a Brazilian Olympic teammate of Bruno Caboclo, could be on the chopping block when it comes to signing Caboclo later on. I mean, those 2 guys are the ones that you would have to cut in order to make a deal for Caboclo work. Now, as far as the depth on this Golden State roster, where does Bruno Caboclo fit in? Obviously not with the guards, right? Steph Curry, Brandon Pajemski, D'Anthony Melton, Buddy Hield, Moses Moody, and Gary Payton. And I didn't even mention guys who were on 2-way deals like Pat Spencer or Reese Beekman or the non-guaranteed deal for Gui Santos. There's a lot of guards on this Warriors roster. They might have to trim up some of that fat. On the wing, where I thought originally before I started scripting this video, started doing research into Bruno Caboclo, is where he would fit in. No, I don't think that Bruno Caboclo is ready to play on an NBA wing as of right now. You got Jonathan Kuminga, you got Andrew Wiggins, you got Kyle Anderson, and you got Moses Moody, who I talked about yesterday as kind of being the sacrificial lamb of this Warriors rotation. That's really unfortunate, but not going to fit into the wing depth here. Now, as far as the front court depth goes, this is where Bruno Caboclo could kind of make a little bit of noise because there's opportunity there, right? Draymond Green, we know, is going to play the 4 spot and probably even the 5 spot in many small ball lineups that Steve Kerr is going to run. Got Jonathan Kuminga, who can play the 4, but not a great rebounder, not a super long wingspan. I have reservations of him playing the 4. Trayce Jackson-Davis, who's going to command a lot of minutes at the 5 spot this year for Golden State. Could Bruno Caboclo eat into some of those? I doubt it. I'm very high on Trayce Jackson-Davis and what he can bring for this Golden State roster. Kevon Looney, though, that's where I'm like, could Bruno Caboclo actually steal some of Kevon Looney's minutes later on down the line if he's signed by Golden State this year? I think so. And obviously, I put Kyle Anderson in there just for situational reasons, he could play the 4. Not really looking for him to play the 5 in any regard. But Kevon Looney, could Bruno Caboclo fit in the rotation there? I think so, but at the end of the day, I don't see Golden State signing Bruno Caboclo. It's unfortunate, but I think that they don't really feel pressed to make a signing right now, to pigeonhole themselves and get rid of a guy like Lindy Waters. Mike Dunleavy has come out and said that Lindy Waters is a part of their plans for this season. He sees Lindy Waters as a possible rotation piece for this season. That's interesting to me, because the guard position, it's an absolute logjam. But as far as the prospect of signing Bruno Caboclo goes, if the Warriors have their eyes set on a trade or two that shifts the balance of this roster, maybe takes off some of the fat from the guard position, puts them on the wing, or vice versa, takes them off the wing and puts them in the front court, there's a possibility. If you can balance out this roster a little bit more, I could see Caboclo fitting in here. But, like I said, you're going to have to cut one of 2 players here. Lindy Waters or Gui Santos. Who would you guys cut? If you're going to bring in Bruno Caboclo, so if you're one of those people who before in the video are typing your whys for the Warriors signing Bruno Caboclo, who would you cut? Pick one. Lindy Waters, type LW. Gui Santos, type GS. I want to hear from Dub Nation on who you guys would have on the chopping block if they were to sign Bruno Caboclo. And that'll do it for today's edition of Golden State Warriors Today. To never miss a moment on your Golden State Warriors, whether it's news, rumors, a trade, an update on the roster, injury news, doesn't matter. We're going to have it here on the channel. YouTube.com/WarriorsTV. We'll see you in the next one. Let's go Dubs.